Well, I've got to say, first of all, it's a complete honour for me because when I was 10 years old, it must have been 1972, I heard Schools Out on the radio in the kitchen and it changed my life.
Oh, that's great.
Honestly, it was one of those defining moments for me because after that I decided that what I wanted to do was become a rock star. And here I am working in radio. What happened?
That's great. Well, you know, if you don't get to be a rock star, you get to play the records.
So many people sort of are nicey these days. There's so many sort of pre-packaged bands in Britain. I think it's great to see something with a bit of edge.
Well, you know what? It's like, this is a second home for me. When we first started out, we weren't really a hit in America till we came over here. And as soon as we got banned over here, we were, you know, the record went to #1 and all of a sudden America took notice.
It's funny that, isn't it? It's almost like any publicity is good publicity.
Well,
because
it was amazing. You know, there was absolutely no reason to ban us at the time except for the fact of the urban legend. You know, which was mostly people that had made up a lot of stories about Alice Cooper that just, you know, weren't true. You know, the name Alice Cooper sort of was synonymous then with theatrical rock. And, you know, there was a lot of good offsprings coming from us. You know, I mean, we sort of broke the door down that said you couldn't be a band and also do theatrics.
I got a bad reputation, and I don't know why. I brush my hair, brush my teeth, I go to church, and I'm a really nice guy. Yeah!
At that time, and maybe even now, I would be hard-pressed to go out and find 10 kids on the street that have ever seen a play.
Yeah.
That have ever seen a musical. You know, and they may say, well, I saw it on the internet. I watched, and I want to I want to get a big bus and say, fill this bus up and take these kids to see West Side Story. Mm-hmm. Take them to see Chorus Line. Take them to see anything on Broadway that's live with music and special effects. So in my back then in the 70s, I just added West Side Story, and I said, I'm going to give you a dose of West Side Story whether you like it or not.
Yeah. The Alice Cooper Band were the first ones to really sort of meld that theatrical aspect into a live performance.
Well, absolutely, and it was before video. So there was, you know, I mean, the only way that you could see this kind of thing was to actually go and see it on stage, and there was no trick photography. All of these illusions and all of the things that happened were directly in front of you on stage.
There's so little live action performance these days, isn't there? I mean, they still get the gigs and everything, but you never get anything live on the TV. It's always mimed. I mean, even going back to Top of the Pops, when you were doing Schools Out years ago, when you sort of terrorised a poor girl member of the audience with a sword.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it was good theatre.
Yeah.
She probably grew up to be, you know, an MP or something.
Apparently there was a near miss with a guillotine at one point, wasn't there?
It was the gallows.
Oh,
actually.
the gallows,
When I did the gallows, it's the safety wire that caught me didn't catch me. It snapped. And it was very close call. Actually, the guillotine that I'm doing in this show, by popular demand, more people have called me and said, on the new show, in the Brutal Planet show, you've got to bring the guillotine back. So we brought it back better than ever, and that's the one thing I can't get insurance for. Because it's a little bit too dangerous for them to insure.
I bet it is, yeah. I mean, way back then in the 70s, there wasn't so much of a methodology for touring, so it must have been crazy for you to go on with the snake and the swords.
We were inventing this as we went along. A lot of the stuff was, nobody knew how to tour with this stuff. It was, 8 Beacons trucks full of staging. And even the new show, Brutal Planet, is very much a much bigger show than we've been doing. So it's a lot of special effects and a lot of staging in that one, too.
We're spinning round on this ball of haze. There's no parole, there's no gray escape. We're sentenced here until the end of days. And then, my brother, there's a price to pay.
That's the British tour that you're embarking on right now. I know you're playing the Barras in Glasgow on the 16th of this month.
Yes.
So obviously I'd love to come along and bring my girlfriend, and I promise I won't do the "we are not worthy" routine in front of you.
How many times a day do you think I get that?
Well, I've read everything about you, so I know it's 40 times a day, Alice.
At least.
Yeah.
At least. And every person that does it thinks they're the first person all day that did it.
I read somewhere that you even met the U2 guys, and they did it.
They did it. Hey, the guys in U2 did Schools Out one time on stage, and I thought it was a great tribute. I loved it.
there's a great song called Little Things on the album as well, and it's true, isn't it? It's the small things that that get you in life, like somebody talking in the cinema.
Oh, that drives me out of my mind.
It's a great example.
Yeah, and I needed a certain amount of comedy to give this album a little texture, and that song to me was the funniest song on the album, because here's a guy that, he said you can burn his house down, you can, steal his car, you can do this, you can do all, and I can deal with that. But if you talk in a movie, I'm gonna go off on you. I mean, and I understand that. It's sort of like, have you ever had one of those days where everything goes wrong? You've got a toothache, somebody hit your car, you had a fight with your wife, you ran over the cat, everything's wrong, and you're dealing with it. You're dealing with it. One person cuts you off in traffic.
Yeah.
And you're ready to go nuclear on this person.
It's not just road rage, is it? It seems to be like society rage these days, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's what it is, though. It is the little irritating things, though, that is sort of lights the fuse.
Yeah. And I suppose it's because we're bombarded with all these huge things we could do nothing about. Yeah. And the only thing you can do then is something like that, I suppose.
Is react against the small things, yeah. So it's the little things that gives you the hair trigger.
Oh, it's a little things. It's just a little things. Yeah, it's a little things. It drives me wild.
Now, lazy journalists, unlike myself, would bang on about the paradox between Alice, the soul-reading chicken killer, and Alice, the golf semi-professional. But you've always talked about Alice as in the third person, haven't you? Does that still apply?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, A Brutal Planet is Alice's view of the future. I mean, I wrote this. Alice is very pessimistic. Mm-hmm. I'm very optimistic. But Alice's view of the future is much more theatrical than mine. Alice can look around and see all of this violence in the world, and he sees it as a path to Brutal Planet. He says, it's inevitable. Where we're going is this oblivion. We're going to this place where technology will eat itself. Instead of saving us, it's going to kill us. And in the end, we're going to be nothing more than road warriors. We're going to be scavengers. And that's what the stage show looks like. Because his vision of the future is, I can't write my vision and make Alice play that, because he would say, this is too wimpy. He said, I need a vision of the future that's going to have a lot of meat on the bone. And yeah, so I wrote it as his version of the future. Now, of course, I'm much more optimistic. I said, yeah, I think that humans will find a way to not kill each other. I'm starting to doubt it more and more every day.
Yeah.
Now, as far as golf, it's funny because Alice hates golf. Alice just hates golf. Now, I play 6 times a week.
Yeah.
But I live a totally different life than him. I've always kind of separated myself, and I said, Alice lives for an hour and 45 minutes a night on stage. Uh-huh. That's where he lives. He doesn't want to live in our world. So I let him live for his hour and 45 minutes on stage, and he's pure Alice. If he saw golf clubs, he'd break them. He'd use them as weapons. He would melt them. On the other hand, I have to live my life, and I go out and I play golf, I go shopping, I go to movies. You see me on the street all the time, but I probably won't have a boa constrictor around my neck.
But I mean, like I say, it's an honor for me to speak to you, because you're one of the true greats.
Well, I appreciate that. And when we play Glasgow, every time we play Glasgow, I go, this reminds me of Detroit.
Really?
This is like hometown to me, because Glasgow, if you go to Glasgow and you don't play hard rock, and if you get up there and you're wimpy, they'll just blow you off the stage.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to go to Glasgow with attitude. Uh-huh. And that's the same way Detroit is. I always say Glasgow is like the sister town to my hometown, Detroit.
Really? Like a twin town?
Yeah, and Detroit's still the best rock and roll town in the world, and Glasgow's got to be right there with it.
Listen, Alice, it's a shame we've just been being cut off at time, because I could talk to you forever.
Thank you.
I'd love to. So I've got to come and see you. We've got to make a date to meet on the 16th.
Absolutely. You have to come out and see the new show. I guarantee you, it's the best show we've done since Welcome to My Nightmare.
Brilliant. I can't wait. Lovely to talk to you. All the best. Good luck with the CD.
Thank you, as always.
And I'll catch up with you on tour.
Okay.
I'll hang with the band.
All right, yeah, literally.
Cheers, man.
Okay, bye.
All the best.